guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time, this is a weight loss journey for me. Today is weigh-in. I know those that have been following and whatnot, yeah, it's been a month since I last posted my video. Unfortunately, pretty much right after my son's first birthday, which was, we had his party on the 9th of March, like a few days after, my oldest got really sick, had like this weird, it was throughout his school, had like this flu and whatnot. And then Ezra was kind of, my youngest was getting like a little bit of fevers, but we thought like they were low grade, so we thought maybe okay, it's just teething or something. And then my daughter got sick too, and then it was just like on and off throughout the whole time. Well, a couple weeks ago, it just like got worse with my youngest. And on a Sunday, was it not last week? Was it last week? Or a week before that? I think it was like a week before, yeah, a week before last week. Last Sunday or whatever, the Sunday before that, he got so bad where he wasn't eating or drinking. His fevers were, you know, a lot higher than normal, and he just was not himself. Basically, when I was looking at him, he just wasn't like there. He was like, it seemed like he was like in a trance, and of course that's concerning. So I of course rushed him to one of our nearest hospitals. When we first got there, the doctor that was first there and the nurse was really good. They said that after we're done here, they wanted us to go to DeVos, which is more like, they had more of the stuff for the kids there because they felt like he's gonna get admitted because everything that was going on with him just was concerning. His fever was high. When we got there though, it wasn't, because I gave him Motrin before we went, and so his fever was actually like, his temperature was normal, but he wasn't himself. He had like this weird rash, like it was like a sunburn, but it wasn't like, it wasn't bumpy or anything like that. It wasn't, you know, raised or anything like that, but it went from his shoulder all the way down to his wrist on both arms, and his legs went to like his hip all the way to his ankle, and it was so warm to the touch, like it literally looked like a sunburn. And it was just his limbs, like it was the weirdest thing. Never seen anything like that before. Of course that was scary, and that started happening when we actually got to the hospital. So you know, they were concerned about like a staph infection or, you know, toxic syndrome, you know, different things. They weren't sure, so they started doing blood work, and that was probably the worst because my little boy he's a chunky little monkey, and so it's harder for them to find the veins and whatnot. So they had to like keep poking him. It was basically like a pincushion, because at this point they did like every spot they tried and they couldn't get anything, and it was really sucked because I'm like, okay, it was rough. And then at one point they did like his arm right here, and they kind of got a little bit, they weren't able to get like an IV flow, but they got some blood, so they were trying to put it in the tube, but it wasn't enough. They finally got another, like an actual, I don't know what they're called, but they do blood work. That's their thing. That's like what they major in. She came in, did that, got it on, I think it was the other arm, and I was a little frustrated because they were going to save one arm for DeVos, so when we would go over there, they would be able to have at least one arm to work on for like if you need, like, you know, when they put the fluids in and whatnot. But after the original doctor and the nurse left, everything kind of just went to crap. But she got the work done. She got the blood work, and we were waiting on the test. Obviously the blood cultures wouldn't come in till like a few days later, so we wouldn't know exactly what he had, but enough to know that he did have an infection, just don't know what type yet. And obviously because his white blood cell count was off, it was bad, and so they knew he had an infection. Then they knew he was dehydrated as well. And after the first doctor and the nurse left, there, of course, after their shift, another one came through, and this is where I got frustrated, because there was like the one doctor and then another one that, like, the team doctor. I don't know how this all thing works. I'm not in the medical field, don't know. But the first one comes in, she's like, okay, so if he's not eating or drinking, this will be the determining factor that he is going to stay. I'm like, okay, well, I already knew he wasn't drinking or eating, so they try to give him a popsicle, they try to do whatever. He wasn't taking it. So then she went to go get the other doctor, the team doctor, I don't know, the one that's like the head of everything. She comes in, she's like, okay, let me have a look at him. And she's like, okay. And literally she just comes in, leans back against the sink, and just like looks at him, doesn't even like pick him up, look at, like, touch him or anything. She crosses her legs and just like looks up and down at him. And she's all like, okay, you know, his temp is normal. Well, yeah, it's normal. I just gave him medication, but every time it wears off, it spikes right back up. And and even with the medication, he's not acting right. And he's dehydrated. And y'all know he has an infection. And she's like, well, I don't think he needs to be hospitalized. I don't think anything like that. Like, you don't have to go to DeVos. You can just go straight home and then follow up with your doctor the next day. I was like, what you just told me, if he is, like, they just told me if he's not drinking or eating or anything like that, if he's not going to take the Pedialyte and the popsicle, that he would have to stay. Well, she just sent us off, basically. And so as I'm leaving, and my husband finally showed up, like, at the last minute, because he was with our other children trying to drop him off at my mom's. And he comes to me, and then I told him everything that would happen, and both him and I just had this feeling like, no, like, we need to take him to DeVos. And so, you know, of course I called my mom, because, like, in my head I'm like, you know, maybe the doctor's right, I don't know. But then the first doctor said we need to, so I was like, I didn't know what to do. And so I like, okay, well, I called my mom, and I told my mom everything that happened. She even said, like, you need to go. And, like, I just had this instinct that I needed to go. And, like, even before I went to the first hospital, I had this feeling like I just needed to go straight to DeVos, because they're, like, really well known. They're really good with the, you know, with children. They have the hospital for the children and whatnot. And so I'm like, okay, so we, you know, from there, we went straight to there. As soon as we get there, his fever, like, he didn't have a fever, but his heart rate was like 178, which that was really scary. And so they immediately got a room cleaned up, rushed us back there basically. And then they, like, soon after, not too long after, they, you know, of course, checked his vitals again. And his fever, it just spiked up from where it was a normal temp all the way to 103 in just that short amount of period. So obviously that was an alarm there. His heart rate's like at 178 to 180. So freaky. Like, obviously I'm like trying to stay calm. People that know me have like really bad anxiety, like really bad. But I'm trying to stay calm because my son's already freaking out. Like, he was already traumatized by, like, anybody that came in the room that wasn't me or my husband. He was freaking out because in the last hospital we had to, like, pen him down. It was just horrible just to, like, you know, poke him and, like, get it was bad. So of course he's freaking out the whole time. So I have to keep calm because, you know, I don't want my son more scared than what he already is, and I'm already, like, on edge. So we had to, like, burrito him. That's what they call it. Like, burrito him, like, basically swaddle him up so that he's not gonna, because he is strong. He is so strong. And try to find that perfect spot to get, you know, an IV in, get some more blood work, because they wanted to do their own. Even though the hospitals are connected, they still wanted their own just to be safe. And so I'm like, okay, fine. It was horrible, but they were so much better at it. They pretty much got it the first try. It was really, like, the one nurse at first, she, you know, was having a hard time, but then they brought the other person in and she got it the first try. But it wasn't as bad as it was at the other hospital. Like, it was just horrible. And so they finally got an IV in and him, and, you know, get the fluids in, the antibiotics in. They also wanted to do, like, an x-ray on his chest just to make sure, like, because it did show that, you know, he has an infection. They wanted to make sure, like, nothing, like, in his chest or anything like that. So everything came clear with the chest x-ray, and but the rash kept showing up. So that's where they were like, you know, concerned. They were actually upset with the last hospital because obviously he was dehydrated. They knew he had an infection, but they weren't going to do anything to him. They weren't going to treat him. They just sent us off. So, but they actually decided, okay, that they were going to admit us in. So, after all of that was done, they sent us up to our room that we were going to stay in. And like they literally had him, like it looked like a little cage. I'll insert a picture in. So it looked like a little cage, and he's just in here, this little tiny little, oh my God, it broke my heart. And, you know, everyone's really friendly, really nice. We're all just trying to figure this out. And mind you, at this point, I was already up like 24 hours. Like I had no sleep. I haven't had sleep in like 3 weeks to really, honestly, like the whole month, because this whole month has been so busy, so crazy with his birthday party and then all the illnesses that we've been dealing with. So it's been crazy, but I didn't have any sleep. So they had like this little recliner, and then they had like the old like beds that you just like basically like a couch you turn into a bed. So my husband slept on that because he was, you know, just came back from work. I wanted him to get rest. He already knew that I wasn't gonna sleep. Sorry guys. He knew I wasn't gonna sleep. So I just sat on the like the recliner just staring at him the whole time pretty much. I did fall asleep, like maybe I had like an hour or two of sleep, but I couldn't sleep. I was just restless, like scared, and I know what's going on. So the morning comes and they finally take out the IV because he seems to be doing better. And they come in and they said, okay, we're going to get all of our team, their whole team together, all of their doctors together, and they're going to figure out what's going on. And so, you know, they take on all the blood tests, all the urine. Like, oh yeah, I forgot, he had a urine too, so they had put a catheter in him. That was horrible. And I had one when I was induced. So they're painful if you ever had one. And then having my little one had to have one, like it was just horrible. Anyway, so they had to, you know, with all with the urine test and all the blood work and everything, you know, they were trying to come up with like what's going on with them. And again, you know, there's no cultures back from the blood works or the blood work for that. So after like a couple hours, like an hour or two, like they come back and said that from everything that they see from here, they believed he had the I'm just gonna put it here so then you guys can see it, virus. And so basically, from my understanding, because I've never heard of this before, but like a simple cold or a simple flu for us, what could be that just is more extreme for them, especially with like weaker immune systems, and obviously he's a baby. And so we weren't sure, like, you know, because he does have thyroid issues, but it's just monitoring right now, so maybe it might have to do with his thyroid, we're not sure. It might just because he's, you know, just a baby, still a year old, so could be a lot of different reasons for why his body reacted the way it did. The good news at that point, though, he was off of the fever reducer medicine for like several hours at this point, and he was, you know, eating, drinking again at this point, so, and he seemed normal, so that was the good news. And so they felt comfortable for us to go home, you know, obviously call if we have any issues or questions and stuff like that. So, you know, finally we got to pack up, go home. As soon as we got home, first we had to go to my mom's to pick up my other two, and his fever went up again. But it was a low-grade fever, so I'm like, okay, let's just monitor it. Let's make sure everything's okay, keep him fluid. And then he wasn't acting himself again. And of course, I'm worried because I'm like, okay, we just left the hospital. But they were like, okay, just, you know, keep up with the fluids, just keep an eye on him. You know, obviously, if he's not responding, then, you know, you take him in and stuff like that. And so I'm like, okay, so just giving him his, you know, Hospitalize, water, all of that, you know, whatever he'll eat. At that point, he didn't really want to eat, and you know, with a fever and stuff, he just kind of, but, I don't remember if I did give him Motrin or not. For me, I try to stay away from, like, fever reducers as much as possible, unless, like, their fever is really high. If it's just, like, a low grade, I just kind of, you know, try to do it myself to get it down, like, you know, keep him cool, clothes off, water, you know, like that. But if it's like, you know, 102, that's when I start, I'm like, okay, you need some Motrin. But they're just, you know, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable pumping my child with a bunch of medication unless need be. And, you know, people have different views on it. Again, it's a preference. I know my husband's, every time they have a fever, he wants to pump them, and I don't know. Anyways, so, but I was able to get his fever down again. But then as we got home, his fever went up to like 102, and that's when I gave him, again, a Motrin. I think it was, yeah, pretty much when we got home. So I gave him Motrin again, and he just wanted to sleep, so I just let him sleep. And, you know, we're all just like trying to settle down, and then, oh my gosh, I can't remember, it was like pretty late at night. I want to say like close to early morning. I don't remember all the exact times. I have it all written down on my phone, which I'm using to record, so I don't know everything right at this point. But he woke up screaming and crying. Like, it was just like bloody. Like, it was just like, I had him in my room that night, like in his own little crib, because I didn't want him in a separate room. I wanted to keep an eye on him. And he's like facing the other direction, like away from me. And I'm like, anytime I call his name, he usually responds. He looks at me. He's like, you know, where's mama? But he just like would not. And it took him a while to kind of like come and then be like, oh, there's mom. But he was still screaming, crying. And I picked him up, and he was cold, so cold. And I'm like, okay. But then the weird part was that he was like really cold, but really warm in the like the body center. Like, it was weird. So I'm like, okay, I need to like check your temp. So his temperature went down to like 95. And that's like a low grade fever. And those of you that don't know much about that, those are really dangerous, especially if you're fighting an infection. Usually that means it's a pretty serious infection. And I'm freaking out at this point. So I called DeVos again. I'm telling them what's going on. And they're like, okay, well, they're like, does he have any clothes on? I'm like, well, no, at this point, because just a few hours ago he had a really bad fever, so I, you know, just had him in his diaper to keep him cool. She's like, okay, well, now you need to warm him up. I'm like, okay, well, obviously. So, you know, I bundled him up. I had him, you know, I wasn't sleeping, obviously, so I had him lay in the bed with my husband, and we have this giant comforter, and we're just like, you know, keeping him warm. And she's like, you know, check his temp again in an hour, and then from there we'll see what we need. So I call again, and again after like an hour I checked his temp, and his temp didn't really change at all. It was still a low grade fever. She's like, okay. So, you know, asked me a bunch of questions, and then she paged me through our primary doctor. So he called me, we talked, told him everything that was going on. He's like, okay, well, you know, as long as he's responding, like if you're, you know, moving him and he's making some type of noise and kind of like doesn't want to be bothered kind of thing, that's good, because that means, okay, they're still functioning. They're just basically what he told me is basically his body is just rebooting itself after all this craziness that's going on. It made sense because like the very next day he pretty much was he was back on top. But he wanted me to obviously see him first thing in the morning. So like his very first appointment I had. And so we get in. Again, his temperature was normal when we got in there. He was happy. He was doing really well. So my doctor said, you know, he's going to probably have a few more fevers. He's going to have, you know, probably some low-grade fevers again, too. Just keep an eye on it, you know. And that's what happened the next 2 days after that. You know, it was like on and off. But he was doing pretty good. And then since then, he's doing really well. So that was great. But, you know, as my youngest is getting better, my other two get sick again. And so my son had a really bad fever, went up to 103. My oldest, so we've been monitoring that. And then my youngest was puking, or not my youngest, sorry, my middle child, my daughter, was puking and diarrhea and everything. It was just horrible. This whole house has just been So crazy. And of course, I'm like scrubbing everything, cleaning everything, making sure none of us get sick, but it just seems like it just keeps cycling through. Luckily enough, though, my youngest hasn't gotten sick again. Let's just pray that he doesn't have to be hospitalized, or any of my children again. Like, that was just horrible. So right now we're just kind of we're still dealing with the sickness. Not, you know, see, with my son, it's again like the flu is going around and whatnot. It's basically what their doctors are saying. So it's just gonna keep cycling through until it basically is gone, which I don't know when that's ever gonna be, because it seems like never ending. It's been like the past 3 weeks now. That's what you get having a preschooler and other little children. So it's fun. But so that is why I've been gone this whole month. It's just been so chaotic, so crazy. It's just, yeah. So I've been, of course, stressed, and I haven't been able to do any YouTube. But on that note, before we get into the weigh-in, I am actually making a huge change right now. I'm deciding to just do weigh-in videos. So every first of every month, I'll be just doing those videos. It's just because I have a lot going on right now, and on top of that, before all the sickness happened, like, I have a busy life right now. Summer's coming, we're gonna be doing a lot, and it's just, I need to really focus. Like, I feel like doing these videos can kind of be really time consuming. I don't think people realize how long it takes to make the videos and edit. Not only that, I have to like wait till all my kids are asleep pretty much, or when my husband's able to help me so that I can. So it's just a lot of time and to putting in all of this. And I know this video is already long. It's already 21 minutes. Oh crap. Okay. But yeah, so it's been crazy. So I'm just gonna stick with the weigh-ins every month. And so on that note, let's go weigh myself. Alright, so that's 3 pounds. Not as much, obviously, as I would like. I know that my goal is 8 pounds every month, but to be honest, I'm kind of surprised I lost any weight. With all this chaos and craziness, I've, not gonna lie, been eating junk still, but this is the problem. I would start really well with my diet, eating better, and then I would just be like, oh, need to eat junk. But, you know, 3 pounds is 3 pounds. It's still really good, and I'm not gonna complain because honestly, I'm shocked. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make it to my 50-pound goal by June. Be a miracle at this point. But I need to be a lot kinder to myself too, especially after this month. Oh my god. March has been crazy, so I just need to remind myself that 3 pounds is really good. At least I'm losing and not gaining. Yeah, so every month, I believe, except for, I don't think February I lost any weight. I maintained the weight, I believe, if I remember correctly, but at least I've lost or maintained. So I have not gained anything, which is awesome, because that's going to the right direction. At least we're not going backwards. We're going forward. So I can't be upset about that. Again, the only thing that's not changing is I'm still fasting. Some people had questions about that. Basically, I intermittent fast. So I choose like a certain window to eat. People do all different kinds, so just there's a lot of really good information out there on YouTube. I think I did explain this at one point, I don't know, but I'm gonna just do it again for those because some people still have questions. So I basically I choose to eat around 1 p.m. around noontime. I'm not a breakfast person, so I just kind of choose around like lunchtime, and then I stop eating at 8 o'clock. And then during that time, I just eat when I'm hungry. I try to pick, you know, good choices. And then the times that I'm not eating, the window that I'm not eating, it's strictly only water. I do drink a little bit of Gatorade because I do notice that like I need some like electric lights for me. Like I get like really dizzy and Gatorade seems to help, but the only Gatorade that I do is the zero Gatorade. So there's like, it's zero pretty much everything, and there's only like it's 2 carbs. The one, because I drink the white one, whatever that one is. And it's just like a little bottle, and I just drink one of those during that time, and that's helped me get through the day before I eat. Also before my workout. I won't lie though, this month I haven't really been working out, but I have been more active with my kids. We do a lot of playing tag, running around the rosy, hide and seek, you know, just basically that was my thing with my therapist, that was my goal this month, to get more active with my kids, and it seems to be paying off. I just feel better. I'm a little winded right now because it's been like, I don't know, it's been a couple weeks. I haven't been really much because we've been like, that was weird, my light kind of flickered. Anyways, so I just kind of been sick and whatnot, so I haven't been too active. It's been crazy here, but when we were all healthy, we were all playing and stuff, which has been nice, especially now with this warmer weather. It's so nice. Sorry, I keep pulling up my shirt. It's getting big though, look at that. This was a 3X. This used to be kind of 4. So I know I've been losing weight. I know the pictures, I just feel like I don't notice a difference, or the measurements, but I feel it. I do, little by little. That's all that matters. Hey guys, so yeah, I forgot to add this into the video. Actually, I didn't even think of anything of it because I didn't even check until now when I'm editing my video. So I'm editing right now. But I just realized that I actually did lose quite a bit of inches, shockingly. So I figured, I don't know why I didn't say anything or didn't check before I made the video until now editing. But my waist, I actually lost 4 inches, and my stomach, I lost 6 inches. So that's pretty good. That's a big, like, that's major. My hips, I didn't lose anything. I'm still at 58, which I kind of expected because that is my problem area. I have a hard time losing weight in my hips and thighs and whatnot. But like I've said before, I can usually get my stomach back to the smallest. Like I haven't even started waist training, which I'm going to be starting that hopefully soon. So this is just purely me doing what I'm doing right now, which is not much. So I'm pretty happy, like, yeah. So I just wanted to add that in there because I was surprised for myself. So yeah. Alright, so this video is already very long, so I'm gonna let you go. I will see you guys May 1st. So yeah, I am going to just be posting once a month, every 1st of every month for my weigh-ins. If you do want to still like get updates and stuff like that, I'm going to be trying to post more on my Instagram and my little Facebook page that I have. I will have that in the description if you want to follow. I try to put everything on there, just like pictures of my kids and family and just been kind of things that I've been doing and whatnot. So definitely go check that out if you haven't already. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, definitely hit that subscribe button. And I will see you guys May 1st.